Yeah,
Peace, 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 everyone. Dr. Brandon Lamar Bass. So good to be with y'all again. Definitely a pleasure. And what can I say? Different weather conditions and whatnot, but we're definitely in the season of yeah, the picture that I just shared with you, Dr. Bass. Let's definitely start with that one. I just shared a picture with y'all, yeah, so that the people can see what this season really represents, the symbolism behind of it, just so people are aware of yeah, the dark side of it, for want of a better explanation. But pleasure to be with you as always, Dr. Bass. How's it going?
oh yeah, it's been pretty good, pretty good. I just have to share the picture to my email and then
Yeah, just so people could be aware of the very gruesome implications of actual historical events, which symbolize these silly ass holidays that they be celebrating. I mean, honestly, the more I stop and think about it now, Brandon, Halloween is probably the best holiday for the mere simple fact that when you get to the esoteric implications of that holiday. Um, the world between this realm, the physical realm, the matter realm, and the antimatter realm, aka the spiritual realm. Because if you stop and think about it, spiritual is antimatter because the spiritual is clearly above matter. We know that the spiritual, even in esoteric terms, the spiritual creates the physical. The physical can't exist without the spiritual. It's the combination of the mental and the spiritual, and then you get the physical aspect of it. But either way, we see with Halloween, it's a very interesting holiday because yeah, the veil between the physical realms and the spiritual realm, it thins, and that's the opportunity you can get to speak with your ancestors, with spiritual beings on the other side, all kind of good stuff. But then when you get into holidays like so-called Easter, and well, okay, Easter simply represents the spring the spring solstice or equinox, whatever you call it. Basically, when the sun rises, or at least it starts to get back to its power. Yeah, essentially when the sun gets back to its power. But you don't need to take my word for it. You have many books like DM Murdoch's Sons of God, wait, Heru, Horus, Krishna, and Christ. The Jesus character is basically nothing more than a revamped version of Heru from ancient Kemet. As a matter of fact, Christianity as well as Islam, but Christianity in particular really takes its symbolisms and metaphors and its teachings directly out of ancient Egypt. Big shout out to um Dr. Joseph Ben Yochanan and the other brother. What's his name? John Henrik Clark. Dr. Henrik Clark. They already taught, especially Dr. Ben, that Christianity is simply the grandchild and ancient Kemet spirituality is the grandmother. Like literally, Christianity did not need to look far to get its symbolic meanings behind all of its yeah, characters and whatnot, because to this day they're still uncovering, digging up ancient Egyptian artifacts and whatnot from the sands that were simply lost in time and whatnot. Because with the so-called passage of time, with everything in the universe changing as so-called time passes, things don't stay the same. But guess what, they're still digging up stuff from the sands over there in Egypt and whatnot. But when it comes to these so-called patriarchs, these characters from the Bible, just try to find one single tomb from any of these characters in the Bible, they still can't show us any one of these tombs and all these sepulchers and whatnot. And I'm like, but wait, these characters existed, right? I mean, I could go to my family's personal grave in Haiti right now, Dr. Bass. And my grandmother's and grandfather's graves are all found right there, plain and simple. These people existed. I know they existed, but why is it such an issue for the characters of the Bible for one motherfucker to for one individual to find their fucking grave? I mean, these characters existed, right? What's the problem? What's the problem? And guess what? All the pharaohs and all the mastabas, the pyramids, we already know that they exist because hello, they're right there. They're literally right there. You could just visit Egypt and literally see the beauty of the pyramids, like all these cycles, all these centuries later. They're still there. I'm not even getting into deep esoteric stuff like the hidden civilizations that are operating on a higher frequency that are still existing, but we ourselves need to raise ourselves in order to see these civilizations, literally speaking. But either way, yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that, Dr. Bass. Like, when it comes to these holidays and whatnot, people really need to do the research and really see the how can I say, the origins of these so-called holidays. But there is no better individual to show you than General Sarah Sutanseti. You could check his YouTube channels, General Seti as well as Sarah Sutanseti. He gives plenty of lectures exposing these bullshit ass holidays, and especially when it comes to Christmas and whatnot. Of which I have to ask, have you gotten through with the picture, bro?
Oh yeah, let me share it now.
Yeah, show the people about Merry Christmas and all that stupid shit. Yeah, could it get any bigger, bro?
Let me yeah, there we go.
Yeah, yeah. So-called Merry Christmas, everyone. People who still teach your children pagan holidays, make sure you tell them that this pic is the original image of a Christmas tree. Merry Christmas. Oh yeah, you see how they used to fucking slaughter our own people? They used to slaughter our own people, literally hang them on trees like freaking ornaments and whatnot, bro. Oh, this is the holiday y'all motherfuckers want to be celebrating. Okay, I mean, you are adults after all. You can make your own decisions and whatnot. It's not my duty to be behind your ass. I mean, I'm not the God of the Bible. I ain't these pimp pastors on these pulpits literally preaching, oh, you gotta be doing this and that. You gotta live your life this and that. Like, I'm not any of that. You want to be celebrating these holidays? Well, remember this picture right here, especially for the Christmas holiday, so-called Merry Christmas, man. Fuck these holidays, man. But like I said, Dr. Bass, thanks for sharing, bro. Um, Halloween is probably the best holiday for the mere simple fact that you get the opportunity around that time of year to literally interact with beings. Well, of course, once you get into the rituals and whatnot, because guess what? Christians always want to be praying to their God, who's really nothing more than a freaking spiritual being. So, what's the problem if a motherfucker literally performs a seance or a ritual to interact with beings on the other side? You know what I mean? It's literally no different. It's just one, how can I say, a cult. The word cult really does appear like a pejorative, but really a cult is just a gathering of beings with one mind and one particular purpose, performing a particular task. You know what I mean? A cult in and of itself is not an undesirable thing. Guess what? It all has to do once again with intention. I mean, as we were explaining during our personal chats, Dr. Bass, when it comes to effigies and doll magic, statue magic, and whatnot, people always want to be using these images to harm others. When ve- it's been taught, even in ancient history, that you could use these same effigies and dolls to even cure an ailing individual. Because even as the movie, the 1996 movie, and I like to make reference to that movie, especially when it comes to intentions in magic, because the Kabbalion already perfectly teaches us the mind is the ultimate tool when it comes to manifesting whatever it is that you desire in reality, because the all source, the number one energy source, the entity or whatever you want to call it, from which everything emanates, the all is mind, and thus the universe is mental. If that's the logic, that means the mind is the greatest tool for me to use in order to achieve whatever it is that I desire on any level. be it on the physical level, the mental level, the spiritual level, and so on and so forth. This is exactly the magic that these other religions be talking about when they saying, oh, pray for your desires to come to pass and stuff like that. You know what I mean, Dr. Bass? Like simple stuff. Simple stuff. So the universe is mental, which means the number one tool that I should be using is my mind. Plain and simple. But this is all elementary stuff. If anything, get the Kabbalion because it's a very good book. I always recommend it as a very good book for people to get into because it really explains the faculties of getting into mind work, using your mind to really start to achieve the desires that you, or rather, will your desires into existence. But shout out to Elena Blavatsky. There is a difference between desire and will. Desire is not the same thing as will. Desire is more on the animalistic level. You know what I mean? Like animals desire things, but you, as a multidimensional spiritual being having a temporary human experience, it is your duty to will the things that you want the most into existence. And to add to that, before we get into the first video, which I have yet to share with you, bro, and a video I was watching, yeah, which I shared with y'all earlier this week, which is very interesting. Notice how the Chinese, the Indians, and the Arabs. Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting into that topic, but we're not gonna stick on it too long. These they don't get into when it comes to speaking with their children. Oh, what is it that you want to be in life, Doctor Bass? That is a stupid fucking question to ask any child, right? Because Brandon, right now, say you get into your 20s, bam, you reach the age where, yeah, you want to decide you want to go to college or stuff like that. After graduating from high school and whatnot. We know the regular procedures and whatnot. But to ask any individual what is it that they want to be in life is one of the stupidest fucking questions you could ask anyone, period. Why don't you simply ask that individual? Because we spoke about this already, but we're sharing it with everyone out there. It doesn't matter your race, your creed, your ethnic stock, or whatever. This is stuff that we especially have to bring to niggas because having been the oldest race of people existing in this realm for so damn long, I find it to be very interesting that we have fallen to a level, well, those of us, we have fallen to a level so low that people who have only been in this realm for, I don't know, give or take a few thousand years, a few hundred years, but they definitely haven't been around anywhere near as long as us. We have ruled, just like as I explained earlier, by our mind power. You tap into the powers of your mind, which all the ancient mystery schools and all the ancient universities of old times used to be about. It was simply teaching you, because think about it. Why do they call these higher institutions universities if they don't even teach individuals the true secrets of the universe? You know what I mean? How the planets emit special energies. Mercury is her own energy. Venus is her own energy. Earth, this realm that we're in right now, is its own energy. Jupiter is its own energy. Saturn is its own energy. The moon, I don't need to get into the moon. I mean, heck, Dragon Ball already showed you that the moon is something completely different. Nevertheless, the moon is its own energy. The sun, which I already explained, we should be. We should be the sun that is in the middle, which controls all 12 of the energies. What are the 12 energies? King Arthur's knights, King Arthur himself being the sun, Jesus and his disciples, Jesus being the sun, and the disciples being the 12 different zodiac signs. Heracles, Heracles from Greek mythology, he is literally the sun, and he has to go through the 12 trials and tribulations that the Greek mythology teaches about. So we have to be the sun, which is the entire 360-degree model of a circle, which encompasses everything: light and dark, masculine and feminine, left and right, hot and cold, hard and soft, the whole nine yards. We have to be all of that because The universe only recognizes everything. Source is everything. Everything emanates from source, not only high vibrational beings, low vibrational beings as well. So it's deep, simple stuff that people need to be aware of. But getting back into what it was I was telling you on the human level, Dr. Bass. So when you really stop and think about it, it's a very stupid thing to ask an individual, let alone a child, what do you want to be? A child doesn't fucking know what it wants to be. All a child wants is to be pampered, to be loved, to be taken care of, and to be guided properly. But now, like I said, even individuals who say when you reach your late teens, your early 20s, you're still a baby because even in ancient Egypt, and you could do the research and look for yourself, even in ancient Egypt, a man doesn't even become an adult until his early 30s, which would definitely count for me because I'm currently within this physical realm in my early 30s. So, as for you, Dr. Bass, you haven't even scratched the surface yet, bro. I wish you nothing but the best. Wish you nothing but the best. But you're getting there. You're getting there because this is not your first rodeo. And I could tell this ain't your first rodeo in this realm for sure. But individuals need to be aware of the fact that you need to teach your children, A, be grateful for the little that you already have, but you can always use your mind to create that which you want the most and work on whatever it is you want to in the physical in order to achieve that which you thought of in your mind. Because remember, the director, the artist, the sculptor, they see the object of their desire in their mind. Think about it. An author, the characters that he writes, we might not see them in reality, but these characters exist in his mind. They are just as real as anything within this physical realm in his mind. And guess what? He brings these characters. Think about it. SpongeBob SquarePants. This was a concept that Steven Hillenberg had in his mind, but guess what? Steven literally brought that character into reality first by drawing him on paper and then going to Nickelodeon Studios, like going through the entire procedure to literally greenlight the TV show. And guess what? Memes can't done for SpongeBob. Memes out the ass, bro. And you're talking about all the awesome episodes, especially within the first three seasons, because I always said, well, a lot of people who definitely look into these TV shows and movies and whatnot, they know that yeah, at least for SpongeBob, the first three seasons were definitely SpongeBob Gold. That was definitely the height of the show. But you still had many interesting episodes after that because especially when it comes to the truth of the universe and how the universe works, Dr. Bass, they love to hide the truth in plain sight within these TV shows, movies, and cartoons. We fucking know that. But for children, you got to teach them how to simply see what it is that they desire in their mind and don't make your desires complex. Don't make your desires complex. It's the simple stuff. A roof over your head, something to eat, and to literally go out and enjoy nature, but also to work on whatever talents that you have, whatever gifts that you are already gifted with, in order to share with the rest of, well, whoever is ready to receive it, whoever is ready to receive it, that yeah, you could really show them that, hey, I could literally achieve whatever it is I desire simply because I do the work. I have the faith, as you perfectly put it, Dr. Bass. The faith definitely works on the more intuitive, deep level. And the seeing definitely works to help stir up your imagination so that you could get that faith running, so that you could literally activate that mind power, because it's all about achieving that higher level of mind power in order to really achieve the things that you desire. But Dr. Bass, I'm telling you, what do you want to be in life? That is a stupid fucking question because you could end up anywhere. Dr. Bass, I know stories of individuals who have 5, 6 different fucking diplomas, bro. Right now, many of these individuals aren't even fucking working in any of these fields that they studied for. Because guess what? Life can simply be a fucking bitch. And especially with this system, well, I don't need to get into it. I don't need to get into it. All I can say is the universe is the all is mind, the universe is mental. Big shout out to the Kabbalion book on that one. So there's no need to ask an individual what they want to be. Rather ask them, what do they want out of life? What do I want out of life? To simply get back to what it is that I desire, but that I could also achieve the things that I never thought I would have achieved within this physical realm. Plain and simple. It's not rocket science. I just need to tap into my mind power, and I need to do the necessary work within the physical realm in order to make it happen. It's just that simple. Whatever it is you desire, Dr. Bass, it's literally right at your fingertips because you are the architect of your own reality. And honestly, I don't need to say more than that, Dr. Bass. Let me look for the first video that we're gonna get into. But yeah, as you could imagine, and simply break it down to everybody watching this live, Dr. Bass, that honestly, when it comes to children, when it comes to raising children, it's never an easy process, but you're not going to make it any easier relying on this system, which was literally only put in place to literally hamper them, cripple them, and slow them down. Because when it comes to the churches, when it comes to government, when it comes to the schools, oh boy, don't even get me started with how they literally fuck up the minds of people with these religions. Religion only exists to keep you from achieving who it is that you truly are. Plain and simple. Religion teaches you you can't be God. But when you go deeper into spirituality, because spirituality is like an abyss, it's like a rabbit hole. The further down you go, it, it virtually has no end. There is no end to how much you can know. Because the reality is, you can't know everything, but you can sure put yourself in a position to know a lot. Either way, I've said a lot already, Dr. Bass. Take it away and yeah, break it down in layman's terms for everyone because it's simple stuff that people need to be getting into. Because thankfully, for the age that we're living in now, we don't need motherfuckers who whose only agenda is to keep you down while they continue to parasitically suck on your energy to achieve that which they desire. There's no need for that. We're living in an age right now, honestly speaking, it's all on you, the individual, if you don't want to know more. Take it away, Brandon.
Yo, you might have to get an Oscar after that one, my guy. You know what I'm saying? You
Dr. Bass,
killed it.
there's nothing more to say. Nothing more to say, Dr. Bass. Take it away, my brother. Take it away. Take it away.
Yeah, yeah, like not a lot of people know about how like deep these rabbit holes get. So like once a lot of people just have like those spiritual awakening once in the blue moon, they already talk about, oh yes, my they just focus on like numerology and just like chakras and just like the basic information about spirituality when you start like waking up, but they don't really realize how deep these rabbit holes really get. So it really depends on how far you want to take it because like the rabbit holes, there's so much information out there and there's so many rabbit holes that you can dive way deep into, but it really all depends on your consciousness state and how much you can handle because not a lot of people can handle this. Not a lot of people can dive deep into these rabbit holes. Like people can talk about paranormal activity and just already dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? So it really depends on the person. And then for like these government officials, right? A lot of people don't even realize that their God that they're worshiping is really the government because look at how much they depend on the government. I mean, you got the food stamps, you got the ETB cards, and you got the child support and all this. Like at this point, the government is their God, and they're pretty much worshiping their own the government because they were so
What are you?
dependent on it. You get what I'm saying? So, and then faith and sight for it's just like the mind and heart. You just have to have it in sync because at this point it's like a double-edged sword. If your mind is telling you one thing and your heart is telling you another, then that means you're really not aligned. So you just have to balance yourself back into alignment to have it all connect as one. So that's one thing, one key important step for manifestation, right? Because if your heart is telling you like, oh, I'm gonna be I'm gonna have a mansion, but in your mind you can't see it. then it's not gonna be in alignment and you're not gonna be in that frequency of attracting it. But once you focus on all the alignments, then it will come in faster because you're aligned and you're on the same type of frequency as your desires or whatever you're manifesting. And then yeah, so like we have to share our gifts and talents with other people, and it's like funny how like in school, right, like how we were saying like, oh, what you want to be like when you grow up and whatnot, and they think, oh, you can only do one thing. They'd be like, oh, you can only be a doctor, you can only be a dentist, you can only do this, you can only do that, and nothing else. But they don't even realize they have unlimited potential, and a lot of people have untapped talents that they haven't even gone into because they just don't feel like doing it. So you have a lot of untapped potential within yourself, and you can just really practice on what you really enjoy and then continue as that because it's all a process, it's all a journey. You just have to appreciate the journey as you keep going forward because just imagine if you got everything that you ever desired right now. It just like what's like what else would you do? You know what I'm saying? Like you get what I'm saying? So that's why you just have to appreciate those times where you're in the mud and transitioning out of the mud to really be in that gratitude state once you like fully out of the mud and everything like that. And then the truth is definitely hidden in plain sight. Like we can see in movie trailers, like we can just see like different things, and then you got comedians who just be spilling out the truth and just twist it as a joke, and people in the audience over here just uh, yo, listen, at this point, there's so many crisis actors out here on this joint. Like, I don't know how
Not
people
even that,
can.
Sebas. Just like the trailer for the new Godzilla versus King Kong movie. Like, I mean, talk about hiding the truth about a people who've been here the longest in plain sight, right? Dr. Bass, Doc, Godzilla and King Kong are literally nothing more than different aspects of our other half. You know what I mean? The other half, who was always the bodyguard, who was to protect your good half, because your good half is simply incapable of doing evil, whereas your other half is capable of going down that rabbit hole of destruction, and who knows how deep it can go unless you are the one to literally tell it, nah, I'm taking the helm, I'm taking the front seat. You just chill in the background because you've already done enough damage. You know what I mean? I mean, geez, Dr. Bass. King Kong and Godzilla is literally a representation of us. That's who we are when we tap into our true power.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, not even like a lot of people don't even realize like these are just like giants as well, and we was giants as well. And our spiritual team are the ones that really destroy people because like the spiritual army, we're the most destructive creatures on this planet, on this earth. But basically they'd be like, oh, just stay keeping your high vibes and we deal with all the other people as well. So we definitely got an army and we definitely have a team behind us, and you're never alone as well. But like back to like comedian stuff, like listen, they be playing it as a joke, and then the audience is so gullible. They just be clapping and cheering for anything at this point. I bet if you walk down the street, right, like on a LA random day in LA or something like that, and someone says
Mm-hmm.
like, listen, I just got married and I killed my wife today. Chewy, like, and then like makes sense, like try to chill up the crowd and all. Nah, I bet people don't even know what they were saying and just chill with them or something. I don't know. Listen, they just gullible at this point. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you just have to show gratitude and always, but always like strive. to have like strive to where you want to be at in life, because at this point, why continue suffering when we're the ones down here and we're the ones who have to go through all of this? So why should we even suffer? We should be living comfortably and in luxury as well, because like that's how we was in our past lives. Like we was generals, we were, you know, great ancient beings, so we should be at the same type of frequency down here as well. So you should always strive to have that luxury or whatever you desire, but also have gratitude throughout the process as well. And then
And
for
think
like,
about this, Dr. Bass, to add to that, what would that which you just perfectly laid out. Think about this. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Heru, when he was a child, clearly he had to rely on the other gods because he was a baby. He was born from his mother Aset after his uncle Sut, who's nothing more than a representation of the dark side, having killed his father Asar. So Asar eventually, yeah, he got resurrected by the efforts of his wife, his sister consort, Aset, being Heru's mother, and he eventually became Lord of the Underworld. And the Underworld is what? The subconscious, unconscious mind. It goes deep, Dr. Bass. It goes deep. And Heru, who used to rely on the gods, when he became an adult, the gods looked forward to him. Because big shout out to Bobby Hemmett and even the ancients who left all this knowledge behind. Even Hilton Hotema speaks about it in his books. If the Christ energy had to truly manifest as it truly is, the entire physical realm would be destroyed. Plain and simple. You know how even in basic science they teach you that matter and antimatter, if they were to come into contact, it would create an explosion. But guess what? It's not a big deal for antimatter because antimatter is literally a more spiritual substance, just like ether. If I'm not mistaken, you even showed me something back then, Dr. Bass, showing us that gravity is not even a real fucking thing, just like what science has been spilling nonsense about for so damn long. Gravity. What about ether? I thought it was ether that is the force that holds everything together, even in the physical realm. And that's not even getting into stuff like how the physical realm only makes up maybe what 5% of the known universe that we currently live in, and what 68% of the universe is dark energy, whereas the rest 20 something percent is dark matter, which we know is nothing but forms of carbon, melanin, the very same melanin which, remember the video that we did in one of our previous lives, Bobby Hemmett explained how you're talking about the nighttime entities, the underworld entities, the entities which we were before we incarnated in human bodies. I mean, holy shit, Dr. Bass, this rabbit hole goes so deep. It even shows you in the Babylonian and in the Greek mythology, after the elder god, or rather the primordial ancient beings got defeated by way of the symbolism of the myth, their essence was used to create the original humans. And we know that niggas are the oldest fucking humans living in this world. So it couldn't have been talking about anyone else because niggas was the only humans that was living in this world for millions of cycles. The so-called Chinese, Japanese, Indians, even so-called white people, these motherfuckers literally only came yesterday. Like literally speaking, in comparison to us. We've been around for so damn long. Look at the Bible. The Bible literally only has a date. It has a rough estimate of 6,000 years at the most. But motherfucker, what about the pyramids? The pyramids are at least however many thousands of years on top of that 6,000 years. So we know that the biblical account of the Egyptians, no, the so-called Hebrews having built the pyramids is nothing but bullshit because those pyramids were already fucking there. So we don't even really know the age of the pyramids, give or take. What these motherfuckers have counted is even really true, because you know these people, these individuals, all they do is lie. Everything based off of their religion, their government systems, their schools, their fucking churches is all lies, 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 lies. So we can't really take their word for anything. But going back to Heru, if the Christ energy really had to manifest as it truly is, because even in Wendy Donneger O'Flaherty's book, Shiva the Erotic Ascetic, when the masculine and the feminine energy truly come together like it's supposed to, the energy that they have in the so-called sex, because that's really what sex is. It's supposed the combination of both the masculine electric and the feminine magnetic energy. The coming of the two energies within the mythology of Shiva and his wife Parvati, if I'm not mistaken, was so powerful. It literally tore this universe apart. So much that the other gods had to tell Shiva, yo, Shiva, take it easy. Your fucking sexual escapades and activities is tearing the universe apart. And Shiva is a god who's known to be an ascetic. Literally, just like Jesus, he would go take the time, go out in nature, and literally just meditate and recharge and get back into his true power. You know what I mean, Dr. Bass? Holy shit! I didn't even need to get into all of this, but just goes to show you how deep the rabbit hole goes, brother. Like this universe in and of itself, they say is 14 billion years old, but motherfucker, stop and think about it. 14 billion years is nothing comparison to the ancient primal worlds that even Bobby Hemmett himself be speaking about. H.P. Lovecraft write books. H.P. Lovecraft wrote books explaining about how the outer gods and even the great old ones are entities who are far older than this universe. Heck, they used to rule this universe before you could say the human cycle came in. The cycle came in which humans uh came it was humans man it was yeah humankind's turn to rule. It was humankind's turn to rule. But before that, you're talking about great, powerful primordial entities that used to rule this universe and even the universes that existed before it. So 14 billion years is still nothing in comparison. But either way, that's just adding to what it is that you said, Dr. Bass. Sorry about that, bro.
Uh,
I give it back to you.
uh, yeah, yeah, it's all about unity at this point because like we already know like they love to define people by all the labels and narratives that they always say. And then like at this point, like with like the news system and whatnot, they be showing you what's might be happening, quote unquote, in another state or another country, but like in reality, that's not even in your reality. So why would you even attune to that reality and have that reality come into you? Because you are what you consume at this point. And because like a lot of people are not conscious about that, so now it's really going to into your reality because like for like a conscious person they can watch like something right and then transmute that energy or be like an alchemist and it won't affect them. But for everyone else, it's just like different. So like at this point, like for everyone who's like popping out babies and everything like that, that nowadays is like you have to realize like if you're a low vibrational person having creating a baby with another low vibrational person, then the kid is gonna be at a lower tier of source. If a high, even if a high vibrational person creates a baby with a low vibrational person, guess what? That baby is gonna have complications because we already know it's gonna be mixing up that you get what I'm saying? So like it's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah. So like the baby is just gonna have like all type of
Yeah, the baby,
things that go
you have
on.
all kind of complications, and this is exactly why some individuals advocate one ethnic group stay within their own ethnic group, not because of so-called racism or whatnot. No, motherfucker, because racism all has to do with, remember we spoke about this already, Dr. Bass, bloodlines, 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 and bloodlines up the ass. Guess what? The King of England or whatever the fuck he's supposed to be, the King of the Netherlands or whatever the hell he's supposed to be, and these other kings and queens who don't even deserve to be in the positions they're in, because when you're talking about how they got into power and how they literally enslaved the people with their bullshit system of taxes, paying rent, and all that stupid shit, which we shouldn't even be using, because the earth herself is who provides, not these stupid motherfuckers who create this bullshit system of keeping you enslaved. But these people, they would never take outsiders, even those who look like them, Dr. Bass. And these are so called white people. They would never fucking take outsiders. If you really stop and think about it, all the individuals who marry in within these um so-called royal families, I guess this is exactly why Diana was killed, because she tried to break that tradition, but in that turn, in that opportunity, they they killed her. They killed her because she literally tried to marry somebody outside of the bloodline. But when you're talking about William and Kate, I bet you Kate is probably some second or first cousin from one of the aunts or uncles or some fuck like that. You know what I mean, Dr. Bass? These people don't take outsiders. They never did. They never will. And anyone within their bloodline who tries that, you're going to end up just like Diana. They take you out. But guess what? Diana had already fulfilled her course. Her story still lives on today. She is a very good example of just how fucked up these individuals are. Think about it, Dr. Bass. When they're talking about race, it was never about skin color. Guess what? Us niggas who've been around in this world before everybody else, it was for us, it was never fucking about skin color. Because if it was about skin color, we never even would have had wars among us or anything like that. It was always about bloodlines, bloodlines, and bloodlines. And guess what? We I haven't even touched topics like how it be your own family and bloodline who literally fuck you up more than an individual who you probably just met for, I don't know, a week or something like that. But that's getting into the deeper aspect of soul tribe, soul family, cosmic brethren, and all that good stuff, you know? But so when you're talking about racism, everybody watching this video, remember racism has to do with blood, because Haitians, of which I am currently related to. My family, my bloodline are all Haitian. I could tell you straight up, Dr. Bass, whenever Haitians talk, they speak about, yo, yeah, you see that person, that individual, yo, they come from a messed up bloodline. That individual, they come from a bloodline of freaking killers, of uneasy individuals. Haitians know it. In Haitian Creole, they say race, which is the same word as race, but they're not talking about people who all look the same. They're talking about bloodlines, a particular group of people who all share the same blood. Because just like as you said, Dr. Bass, a bunch of low vibrational individuals having babies with high vibrational individuals, those babies, do you know how fucked up the genetic code of that child is going to be? This don't have anything to do with so-called racism. It has to do with facts and research that's already been done. Guess what? The crackers themselves, they already doing the scientific research, proving how they're which is exactly part of the reason why their numbers are starting to dwindle. If you stop and think about it, Dr. Bass, Africa, the African population is skyrocketing, bro. Italy, within the last 3 months, they had no recorded births. Let that sink in. So-called white people are dwindling in numbers, whereas niggas are literally growing in numbers. Makes me wonder what that whole COVID-19 scare with the vaccines and whatnot was all about. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm touching into those topics. A lot of people are afraid to mention it, but I'm touching into those fucking topics. But Dr. Bass, as I pass it back on to you as we're getting ready to watch the first video, I just had to add to it once again, Dr. Bass, because the rabbit hole, as you already said, bro, goes so deep. If people think they're getting into spirituality and they're just like gonna stop at one part, they're just gonna like, yes, they're just gonna come to one conclusion. Oh no, my friend, it goes deep. And I mean like, yo, just take it away, Dr. Bass.
Oh yeah, it definitely goes way deeper than people think or assume. And like definitely Africans are definitely going up at this point, and you're just gonna walk down the street and you're gonna see people like doing some African stuff. You know how Africans be walking barefoot and wearing no clothes and whatnot. You don't be surprised, you get what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, Dr. Bass, we're taking over again. We outnumber these motherfuckers like what, 6-1 or some shit? So why the hell are you talking about white supremacy? There is no such thing as white supremacy. There never, even in the age when they made all these concepts popular, Dr. Bass, there was no such thing as white supremacy because niggas was always the majority population in this freaking world. What happened was that spiritually speaking, we fell at a level so low that we fell to their level. But you're talking about source being the all-encompassing 360-degree completion of everything, disagreeable and agreeable, light and dark, cold and hot, masculine and feminine, up and down, left and right. Source is all of those things. The universe does not recognize good or evil. The universe only recognizes completion. It is you, the individual. It's whatever intention. Just like how we were talking about with dolls and yeah, effigies and whatnot. You could very much use a doll to harm somebody just as much as you could use it to heal them. It's your intention as the individual. Because remember, good and evil are purely subjective anyway, because what is acceptable in one culture is completely repugnant and repulsive in another culture. So, yeah, plain and simple.
Yeah, definitely. And even with like planets, so people think planets like Jupiter and Saturn and everything like that, but they don't even think of like, oh, there might be other creatures out there and whatnot. And then like if the moon is so close to the Earth, like right now, why? But they always think it's like far away. So like when they say like, oh, NASA so-called like went to the moon, everything like
Never
that.
a straight
But
answer. That's the true definition of NASA. Never a straight answer.
yeah, and then like why can't we see things with like telescopes and everything like that? But that's a different topic at that point. But yeah, it's like um yeah, for like the Halloween and like the full moons and everything like that, it's like really a heightened time to really tap in. And I bet like if like people saw like things moving out in their shadows and everything like that, they're too scared. Because at this point, the universe won't place something into your life if you're not meant to, if you're not ready yet. So like if you don't feel comfortable seeing like a light being across the room and whatnot, they won't show it like for you, but like for the people who's really tapped in, we always get those like different downloads and everything like that. But the difference between like pastors and all these other people who just speak on the truth is that the pastors is telling you what to do. Like you, and especially those the gangster pastors, they don't they don't care at this point. They be like, listen, just follow the Bible or you gonna go to hell and you gonna like burn and whatnot. Like the gangster pastors, you gotta watch out for them because they just want y'all money. Because it's not the congregation. They just look at you as a pocket, like a money at this point. And
Yeah,
then
bro, I'm telling you, they just look at them, they just see them as a means to fulfill their own ends. They don't teach them abundance, for example. I'm not even talking about deep spiritual stuff. They don't teach them abundance. They don't teach them to budget their currency. They don't teach them how to literally, or they don't like use psychology at the very least to empower their congregation. Many of these so-called gangster pastors, pimp pastors, all they look to do is keep their congregation because why on earth do you want the very same people who you've been seeing for years and years walking into those church doors, walking through those church doors? Why would you not want to see them elevate and become better individuals? Last I checked, when it comes to individuals growing mentally and all that good stuff, shouldn't you surpass the level that you were already in the previous day, each and every moment you should be growing? Like, shouldn't your church always receive new members because the previous members have already outgrown it and so they don't need to be there anymore? I mean, like that kind of stuff. I'm not even going into any deep spiritual stuff, Dr. Bass. It's just simple stuff that, goodness gracious, it is infuriating when you stop and think about it. How they take advantage of those who mentally are just not at the level they should be at. But you know what it is I mean, Dr. Bass. It's stuff that people watching this video and live who aren't aware, they should be able to, even if you don't need to admit it to me or and Brandon, but you have to admit to yourself that you definitely got some shady ass individuals out there because Dr. Bass, Brandon, it is a fucking jungle out here in this 3D realm, man. If you're not looking after yourself, who the hell is gonna look after you?
that's a whole and it's a whole jungle with bots and all type of clones and that.
Oh,
You be thinking you
oh,
talking to a regular human being. What really they just an agent, gang stalkers. There's a whole lot of weird stuff that's going out here on this joint. So
man.
you just gotta be aware of different things.
Oh yeah. Whew. Man, I'm telling you. Anything else you wanted to add, Brandon?
Just the last things. You can't repeat those old cycles that you already beat because we just can't be going backwards. And then all these holidays are really just scams and frauds of just like these people really over here criminals. They really need to be put in jail, but that's a whole nother topic. But you definitely have to like spiritually cut ties with anyone who's stealing your energy. You can use like Reiki, visualizations or imagination to cut like ties with them because like at this point we're living rent free in a lot of people's minds. Yeah, that's all I
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well put, Dr. Bass. Well said. Yeah, the first video, what's the first video that you see there, Dr. Bass? Because yeah, I sent you a few videos, but it's definitely a Bobby Hemmett video. Which one is it, bro?
The universe is only for those who uh
Who
oh
know
yeah,
how
who
to
knows
take
to
it.
take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, let people really grasp the message because I'm pretty sure we already shared this one, but the message is timeless. The message, it never gets old, Dr. Bass, because really and truly, the universe is only for those who know how to take it. Plain and simple. Go ahead and take it away, Brandon. Brandon, is it me or I can't hear the audio?
I was about to say let me we should be good now. Let me restart.
Ain't no morality is an illusion.
There we go. There we go.
That's socialization of what you've been taught. You know, it's like some motherfucker actually think that God is looking down. Like some person in Jigsaw, Alabama is thinking that God is looking down on them going, what you doing? Why would you even want a goddamn God to look down on an ant in Jigsaw, Alabama? What the fuck? It's such a, we never get out of catechism. We never get out of that childlike uh, breeding into this religion to even think. Now, why would you even want a God to look down on you in your insignificant life? You know what I'm saying? Or whether you drank some wine on Sunday. It's stupid and child shit. But if they can keep you at the child level, they can keep your mind shut down on the child level. There is no such thing as moralism. We should have learned like the white boy. That white boy keeps you in your ass every day. And we the original people, and guess what? His children live well. And nothing never happens to them. Because you don't
Aquele limão.
you can get away with.
Aquele limão. No. Okay.
Ain't the shit? This white boy showed in the damn movie that if you got a damn willing mind, and if he was a white boy, this motherfucker was in the 11th grade. Right. And that motherfucker bought him a pilot outfit. And that motherfucker went around the world. That 1 year, that motherfucker was up to what? How many million? 4. Huh? 4 million? I mean, in scams. No, 6 million. Yeah. And that motherfucker was making payroll checks by taking toy airplanes and cutting the damn pan off and gluing. And guess what? It's a true story. Oh, it's a family. No, that's a true story. That's some cold-blooded shit that cracker was doing. When they caught him, he was in France printing his own payroll checks. Printing his own payroll check. They go to show you that his reality is what you can get away with. And that cracker was getting away with everything. That cracker, man, he bought a James Bond car, a James Bond suit. Right. You see what I'm saying? It's about like that Joe Millionaire shit. All the women trying to marry a motherfucker who ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? They can only run the show one time. Yeah. You know, because everybody gonna go for the okey doke second time. But I'm trying to, you got to see, catch me if you can. with Leonardo DiCaprio, produced by Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. Man, that shit was cold-blooded. That's the one I gotta see that again. But this cracker here, boy, he was just pimping white people. And they was just letting him go on because at that time, he just had, they love pilots. So that motherfucker got him a pilot outfit, a flip stuff. And was walking in and got up on the plane and couldn't fly worth a damn. Scared in the pilot cockpit. I know he would have shit if they say take over the plane. But homeboy was rolling, boy. And by that time, he went to other scams. And when he got through, he was printing down checks. Payroll checks, millions. But then go to show you how white people are. What did they do? They hired that motherfucker to work for the goddamn CIA. The FBI. They hired that crap. Now, your niggas on lockdown, and preachers coming all up in there. You a bad boy. This is wrong shit. This cracker here was so good, they hired that motherfucker to work for the damn FBI. He was so cold. Because they couldn't catch him up a damn. They couldn't catch him up a damn. This shit was bad. You gotta catch him if you can. I gotta see that shit again.
You see what I told you, Dr. Bass? The message from that video is so plain and simple. It's timeless. You could watch it in any generation. You could watch it 50 cycles down the line, 100 cycles down the line, 200 cycles down the line, assuming humanity is even still around. But I mean to say, yeah, I'm not here to be undesirable and unfavorable in what it is I have to share. It's just facts, you know? I mean, assuming humanity hasn't already destroyed itself, but it's just that simple. The universe is only for those who know how to fucking take it. Moralism, there's no such thing as moralism. There ain't no goddamn such thing as morals. The only thing that truly exists is do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Because like we already said, what is acceptable in one culture is unacceptable in another culture. So really, if you stop and think about it, if you want to get into good and evil, honestly, that's probably a philosophical topic that we're probably never going to come to a direct acceptable conclusion on both sides, because really, what is good, Dr. Bass? What is evil? What could be good to me is completely evil to you, and what could be good to you is absolutely unacceptable to me. So none of that really makes any sense when you stop and think about it. Because when you're talking about, for example, cultures, like this culture, yeah, you're free to marry whoever you want to, but like countries in India, for example, already at a certain age, they have already arranged marriages for them and whatnot. And their concept of the Western idea of marrying whoever you want, to them, it's pretty much evil. And our concept of them prearranging marriages is evil to us. But then again, I myself, I'm already at a point where I don't really give a shit about culture, really. It's really about the individual and how you yourself, how everything relates to you as an, how everything out there in the universe is, reflects back on you. Because really, spiritually, we should be growing, and we should really be getting back to who it is that we are. But that's an even deeper topic that we've probably already discussed however many times over. But yeah, I mean, you want to stay stuck on religion and all this shit that, once again, it does nothing more than keep you back, keep you at a certain level. Because religions, they're only there to tell you that, no, you can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it, but you yourself are, you yourself who's the pastor and whatnot, you're literally living your best life. So I'm not allowed to live my best life, but you're allowed to live your best life. Oh, the hypocrisy, the hypocrisy. But as we get to the second video, Dr. Bass, take it away, Brandon. Let the people know just what it is that, they should realign and readjust themselves for their own well-being.
Yeah, because like good and evil is kind of like subjective, just like success. So like one person can say like, oh, just having a house and clothes on my back and food on the table is my definition of success. And then you can ask someone else who's totally will be like, oh, flying first class and driving my sports car and everything like that.
Your
So
own
like
private jet and all that stuff.
yeah, so it all
I mean,
depends on like the
it's cool.
individual.
I mean, it's cool, Dr. Bass. I mean, don't get me wrong. Having your own private jet and having your own sports car and hey, all of that's good stuff. Because, like we already said, we deserve nothing more than the best, and even our material possessions are supposed to be nothing more than a reflection of us living our best life. Even though we shouldn't be attached to these things, because hey, you're watching Matrix movies and all these other movies with these messages. Hey, it's a system that always tries to keep you plugged within it, and we know better. But I mean to say, the point of the matter is we are always supposed to move beyond that which this bullshit society and system has taught us for too long, because this society and system shouldn't even be existing at this point. This shit should have already fucking crashed and burned. And yeah, as you already said, success, much like good and evil, are purely subjective, because an individual who has a house and yeah is able to put food on the table and whatnot, their version of success is very basic and very simple, while somebody else who wants that sports car and that private jet and mansions and whatnot, hey, that's you. You are your own individual, which is exactly why another thing, Dr. Bass, that people in this society are guilty of is always wanted to compare. It's part of that parasitic that parasitic that parasitic mindset that really and truly yeah, it's very toxic, very very toxic. Stop comparing others. That is a very low thinking, low vibrational way of doing things, because I don't need to compare myself to you when you are your own individual with your own thoughts, with your own feelings, with your own emotions, with your own desires. The things that you will want and would accomplish are always going to be different to what I want and would accomplish. But I mean, hey, Dr. Bass, this is stuff, once again, people have to become aware of, because yeah, at the end of the day, we are only here to share the information. We're not here to wish bad on anyone, on no pastor, on no so-called government leader or any one of these motherfuckers. But guess what? We don't need to wish bad for them, because their actions will definitely make sure that they achieve their own destruction, because that's what they put out. They want to put out malice for others. Well, malice is definitely what they're going to get back in return. So we don't need to wish bad for anyone. The individuals who uh perform these actions, they're simply going to get the rewards based off of their actions, plain and simple.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like it's not like being too attached to these like materialistic stuff, but so because like once you get attached, then that's when you get into that reincarnation stage. But like it's all about like detaching, but like this point, if we are royalty in the spiritual realm, we should feel like royalty when we get down here as well. So at this point, we should just be experiencing nothing but the best because we deserve nothing but the best. But like a lot of things of like comparison and like competition, it's like everything is all about a competition. You got the men who always uses their egos trying to compete with other men, just see who has the most money and who's the best in this and that. It's all toxic. Then you got the women who just like, you know, like not saying all women, but like some women are more like emotional, so they just, you know, creating these made up stories in their heads, and you know what I'm saying? So it really just depends on the
And a lot
individual.
of these women, Dr. Bass, to add to that, they can be very egotistical. Some of their egos are even worse than any man you could ever come across. Some of these women, they are so uneasy, right? You be watching, especially if you happen to come across some of the stuff that these rappers and whatnot they'll be putting on TikTok and Twitter and all this stuff. I just have to be like, man, it's a good thing I personally don't pay attention to these dumb motherfuckers, because who the hell is gonna be really watching these people unless uh you like come across their videos only as a passing reference, just to remind yourself, yeah, you are so beyond this sphere of thinking. It's just like so toxic, it's just so unbeneficial to you as a spiritual being. Like, goodness gracious, Dr. Bass, we've come this far and we can't go back, bro. We can't go back. We just can't go back. Plain and simple. We can't go back.
Yeah, we can't go back, and then it's like they also use like manipulation tactics. A lot of people use like different type of things and everything like that. And then like especially with like when it comes regards to like these rappers with like music videos, how they showcase women is just like in a bad rap. And then it's just people's too stuck on those lower
Mhm.
chakra levels. And
All of this is lower chakra stuff, which is why even Sister Yafa Bay, shout out to her, she always mentions about how whenever you see stupid shit like this, yes, I get it. Life is an elevator ride. You can definitely work on always keeping yourself at the highest level, but because life is an experience, don't think that you're always going to be at the highest level, because there will be days where you're going to experience the lowest. But guess what? It's all part of your growth. It's necessary for your experience, for your growth, and for your elevation. Because even experiencing lower levels, you're not always going to be at the lowest level, because you yourself are always going to make sure that you take the necessary action and you do the necessary adjustments to elevate yourself to move way beyond those lower levels. But I mean to say, these people, as you already put it, Dr. Bass, they're so people who be giving them love, they literally pushing them away, shoving them away, shooing them away. While the people who are toxic, they're still keeping them around. Why? Because they're still at the root fucking chakra level. They're at the lowest freaking levels. That's why. From the moment you go beyond the heart chakra level, you really start to see, or at least you at least get a taste of the bliss and the experience that Buddhism, Hinduism, and all these other isms talk about. I mean, it's something that any individual could experience, Dr. Baz, but hey, as we've already seen, not every individual is mentally strong enough to withstand the bombardment of attacks that be coming left and right, front and center from these parasites.
yeah, that's straight facts because it all starts within yourself first, and then you can attract it because you are magnet, so we don't have to chase anything. Because if it's meant for us, it would automatically come to us. But so if you try to force something or try to chase something, you're just really forcing it, and the universe doesn't force anything because it's in
Nope.
the flow state. So at this point,
Mhm.
a lot of people are trying to force relationships, force connections, force all the things like you don't want to do, but you just have to let go and trust the universe, and yeah, just continue on your true path at this point.
Mhm. And by the way, Dr. Bass, I just have to put out there, some of y'all may know already, but when we mention the universe, it's no different than y'all religious people out there want to mention Allah, Jesus, Yahweh, Buddha, Buddha, or I mean, what we're referring to is source, the all from which everything emanates. Because these religions, they do a piss poor job, yeah, giving all kind of names to a source that, even as the Kabbalion says, is unknowable. The true source of everything, Dr. Bass, is unknowable. All we know about source is that everything comes from it. Everything in existence, period, be it low vibrational beings, high vibrational beings, higher realms of existence, lower realms of existence, everything comes from source. But these, like you said, these people out here be adding labels to something that they truly can't comprehend. Why are you adding labels to something you can't comprehend? You could never comprehend it. Just accept it for what it is. I mean, it's so nonsensical that all these religions and all these books and all this nonsense even exists, when the truth of the matter is that it's pretty much like a video game experience. Who knows? Maybe we're literally just programs on somebody's fucking video game CD or whatever. You know what I mean, Dr. Bass? But whatever, because it's all just part of the experience. Source in and of itself is unknowable. Source is, I won't say unreachable, but it's definitely in its own dimension. You know what I mean? Which is why the spiritual journey, when you stop and think about it, it's not for everybody because, yeah, for you to do all of that work to raise yourself back to those higher states of existence, Dr. Bass, we're talking about dimensions on top of dimensions on top of dimensions. But that's all part of the journey, bro. Which is why, as you say, we should really enjoy the journey. And as we go to the second video, yeah, Dr. Bass, any last words before we go back to we get into the next video?
The last thing I'll say is like life is just like a TV show, movie, and a video game. It's like it's just like that. And then like with all the names that you stated, like there was so many gods and so many names. Like at this point, who's the real God that these people are worshiping? Because one day it's Yahweh, one day it's Jesus, one day is God, one day is Buddha, one day is this guy, one day is they say it's a woman this time, then the next time they telling little kids it's Santa Claus. So at this point, like
Well,
who is it at this point?
I mean, and you want to know the Christian God may very well be one of the worst, if not the worst, Dr. Bass, because that motherfucker clearly tells you he's the God of the living, not the God of the dead. And you have all these other religions out here that do have gods who guide you to where it is you're supposed to go once you're finished with this physical body. So I want to know, why is it that these Christians really think that their God is the best God when he literally put limits on top of his own fucking self, in which you shouldn't even be fucking with that asshole? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, all these again, religion does not want you to elevate beyond the human level, which is all part of the reincarnation soul trap. But I mean to say, Dr. Bass, you take it away as we get into this second video, bro.
Oh yeah, and then the last thing I'll say is still jealous God. Still, it's a
I
jealous
mean, like,
God. So like
jealous,
at this point,
jealous
there's gotta
God,
be a better gods out there.
definitely, definitely. I mean, the way I see it, based off of all the research that I've done, Hinduism has better gods. Buddhism has better entities. Heck, even voodoo, which niggas should be getting into if they really want to deal with these fucking parasites and get them off this fucking world. Voodoo literally has entities that you should be fucking with in order to elevate yourself and rise beyond the human level. But I mean to say, hey, Dr. Bass, if people don't do their research, they can never know. We just share the information and knowledge. We just leave it there on the table as a buffet plate for anyone who wants to dig in. If you don't want to dig in, hey, cool, no problem. It's not our job to force anything upon anyone. We're not these pimp pastors. We're not these government leaders and all these silly ass motherfuckers who clearly don't want you to elevate even on a psychological, physical level. I'm not even getting into any deep spiritual stuff when I say stuff like that. But anyway, Dr. Bass, take it away, bro.
Yeah, it's all energy at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Environment around you. And ultimately of unraveling from the social, the political, and all of these things fall off to the spiritual, then the spiritual unraveling itself out of moralism and into science, and science unraveling itself off into the core of it. We ultimately find the ultimate solution that this thing is far beyond even race, because when this was put in place, the white man wasn't even on the doggone planet. And this was a group of black people that was under the behest of the cosmic archons. And they called them counterfeit spirits. So so the original counterfeit spirits, let me give you the example.
Okay.
When the cosmic abortion and all this went along, not only did the Great Mother try to correct it, when these particular spirits were trapped down in this particular aspect of this debauchery. Ultimately, they knew that those spirits, by them coming from the source of the divine, they would be the cleanup factor. So when the debauchery itself found out that in actuality that the spirits that it trapped would ultimately be greater than it created counterfeit spirits to come in and confuse the situation. So when the grand man or the grand pristine superior deity came in to clean up this stuff, which would be the origin of who we are, they also created a group of counterfeit spirits that will always be antagonistic with those so-called true indestructible spirits. And this element of antagonism will go back and forth at first with people that look the same, but they're separated from a single essence. One is the true spirit and one is the counterfeit. And later on, out of those counterfeit spirits, they would create another agent, which would be the white man. So when you ask the question, well, if black people created the white man, shouldn't they be responsible? And they can't, the white man can't be blamed. Right. But what you don't understand, the white man was created by those counterfeit spirits.
Wow.
That the gods was pulling the strings to make those counterfeit spirits, these scientists,
So black people
create this white man.
So they black people, is that to say black people didn't have anything to do with it?
No,
But
you're not listening. You got two people. You got two people. You got an original spirit that comes from the source of the great mother beyond the debauchery.
Okay.
Then you have the debauchery that creates its counterfeit spirit, to confuse the spirits, the spirits to do its evil work in maintaining the debauchery with these counterfeit spirits. But both of them look the same. They're all black.
Okay.
And those particular black ones, these counterfeit spirits, would later on result in creating the white man, who would be the modern counterfeit spirit.
Yeah, I got you.
But the original counterfeit spirits were black, which leads to this question that I have held back for over 10 years of putting forth, that we put forth now. Are some of those counterfeit spirits still in existence?
That's my question. That was my next question.
Well, I'm going to break it down right now, and it's going to be unpopular. It's going to be very unpopular. But I will say this. If they are in existence, most of them still resides in Africa. Do the math.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Out of Egypt I will call my son. We will sift out the right particles. They say this cosmic drama is like a fisherman fishing in the ocean. Some fish that are ripe are pulled out. The other ones that are not are thrown back in. You see what I'm saying? Some people that look like us are not of us.
Right.
That's the great mystery. But I do know one thing. These texts that are fundamentally African, that talk about these counterfeit spirits, the dates and the time that they said the counterfeit spirits came, which was shortly after creation, the white man wasn't even on the planet.
Nowhere around.
There had to be two kind of Africans.
So then they got, like you said, made.
And the ones based on the Osirian drama, which means the Great Westerner, that would be the ripe one. So when you get the word righteous, it means ripe. To be the ripe one would end up in the West.
Dr. Bass, pause it there quick, please.
It would be the Westerner.
I really do wish that people, and we covered this video in a previous live already, but just to show you how this message is just so profound, so deep, so amazing, and yet so sad that it's still going on to this very day. Remember how we already mentioned about how it be your own family and brethren who literally fuck you up? Guess what? Dr. Mumbi, a sister located in Africa right now. All of this is shit she already mentioned herself during her videos and whatnot about how a lot of these so-called leaders in African countries who especially bow down to the crackers matrix system and whatnot. Guess what, Dr. Bass? These motherfuckers are the very same ones who allow these crackers to go into Africa and enslave our people to this very same fucking day. And Bobby already touched how a lot of these counterfeit spirits, when they first came into existence, there was no so-called white man on the face of this fucking realm. It was definitely counterfeit spirits that were created to get into the way of the true divine source brethren. So that, yeah, what you call it, this cosmic drama, as which we always see manifests in different forms in every fucking religion, whether you're talking about Heru against Sut, you're talking about in Ahriman versus Ahura Mazda in the Persian mythologies, whether you're talking about in Greek mythology, who's a good comparison? I guess Zeus against the Titans, because the Titans were the beings who we used to be before we fell at the human level. And even in Gnosticism, when you're talking about Yaldabaoth, Yaldabaoth having created Adam and whatnot, Yaldabaoth being nothing more than the standard mythological prototype from which Yahweh, Christianity's Yahweh, would come from. But it was even said in, if you read Willis Barnstone's The Other Bible, which is a Gnostic book, Willis Barnstone's The Other Bible, he talks about how Adam speaking to his son Set about how Eve, who represented Zoe, which is literally life, being another portion of the feminine principle, being Sophia, who is the feminine principle of wisdom, wisdom being a feminine principle. Eve literally taught Adam how the energy that the so-called humans contain is even greater than that of Yaldabaoth, who is the fucking entity who created their physical body. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Like what the Bobby Hemmett himself always says, Dr. Bass. We have energy that is literally greater than the God that created our fucking physical body. Mind blown. It's no wonder that motherfucker, you could be praying to that motherfucker all day and night and he never answers your fucking prayers and whatnot. That's because those entities up there don't give a shit about you. And in the ancient world, where we used to go was the underworld. Guess what? The underworld was the place that all entities throughout many ancient mythologies used to go to. So where the hell did this concept of a fucking heaven and whatnot even come from? About, oh, you go to heaven after death and for being a good person and all that stupid shit. But again, people don't know if they don't do their research. Stop letting that piece of shit Bible, your pimp-ass pastors, your pimp-ass preachers, and all these silly-ass motherfuckers, stop letting them tell you what it is that you should believe or what it is you shouldn't be getting into, because you should be literally expanding your mind and literally getting into all the ancient stuff in particular, because when you get into the ancient teachings, that's when your mind really starts to expand and get into what it is that the ancients themselves, the ancient masters and teachers, were already teaching us. plain and simple. But either way, yeah. Anything you want to add before we get back to the video, Dr. Bass?
Oh yeah, so like at this point, like why go to heaven, like a so-called heaven for all of eternity with the same people you see down here? It's like don't you want to see like your cosmic brethren and everything like that? But we all know like people don't even believe in ghosts and whatnot, so how can they believe in spirits or just like a person that's not using their physical body at this point? But like I'll be chilling with like SpongeBob and all that other stuff, but that's like other stuff.
Bro, I'd
That's
rather chill with SpongeBob, Shaggy, Scooby, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. I'd rather be chilling with them than any of these stupid motherfuckers I met down here, for real. Plain and simple.
right. And then like for like the housemen, like they do anything for a quick butt. But like for these counterfeit spirits, it's like kind of like the same as like bringing a lower tier source lower tier source kid into the world. So at this point, we just have to bring more higher tier source earth angels down here to destroy the system faster. That's why. But they are just trying to like delay the process and everything like that. But at this point, we all know it's speeding up and everything.
Dr. Bass, really stop and think about it. The system is collapsing. I mean, you look at all these distractions, how can I say, yeah, these illusionary events that are all taking place. Okay, maybe not illusionary, but these events are definitely not happening for the reasons that they're telling us that they're happening. All these events are only happening because, yeah, they know that their time is up and they're trying to do everything they can to try to hold on to whatever illusionary semblance of power that they think they have. But our power was definitely the thing that kept them in so-called power for so long, because these motherfuckers, it's always the same copy paste type of situations of problem reaction solution. They create the problem. They are the problem. They come up with a fake ass solution, which is absolutely absurd. No, the problem reaction solution. They are the problem. The people react to their so-called problem and they come up with an absurd solution, which really only makes the people suffer even more. But guess what? The people themselves, if they realize that they are the system and they are the power, then they won't need any stupid motherfucker to tell them how to live their lives. Because think about it, there's no reason for a government to exist if you already know who it is that you truly are and you know what it is that you're here to do. You know what I mean, brother? It's just that simple.
Yeah, that's straight facts right there.
Yeah, let's finish it off, bro.
That would establish Mayat. Well, Mayat is not just some physical laws and order that the courtroom and judicial system is made out of. It is the very essence of putting back right that cosmic abortion. It's called the Tikkun in Kabbalah. It's called Mayat in Kemet. And basically it means transmutation, transformation. It's an alchemical process of fermentation. That's why Jesus said, I am of the wine. Dionysus is of the wine. Osiris is of the wine. And it has to sift out a new product from the original. That's what alchemy is, taking something original and making something new out of it. But those new souls had to be sifted out of or called out of a confusion of counterfeit spirits. Some of those left behind. And then you understand why we don't seem to be of a certain people that we were all in the same origin of at one time. You know what I'm saying? Some powerful shit. You know what I'm saying? But this ain't about no popularity contest. We urge people to study.
When you look at the world stage and how it's set up, Switzerland is the only country that's not been involved in none of the wars in the last 200 years. The question is, who the fuck live in Switzerland where they can stay war-free during a world war that's all around their borders? Okay, so the people that controlled the Bush family, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Gettys, they all live in Switzerland. They look like us, but they live in Switzerland, and that's why there's no war in Switzerland. They finance both sides of the war. They don't give a damn. As long as y'all kill each other, we don't care. Yep. And the more of each other we kill, the happier they get because they are on a mission to take over the earth using military strategy. Yeah. Well, you think about this. It's 8.4 billion people on the planet. Probably about 7.8 by now, because they've been drastically reducing the population since the scamdemic came about. But the number of people, you can't micromanage that many people. So what do? You preoccupy them with war, misery, and bloodshed. They become docile like sheep and easy to control. Yeah, yeah. And most of the people, yeah, because most of the complaining people don't even know that one, that's not your government. It's a foreign body politic operating in a de facto capacity on your property.
Well, what could I say, Brandon? Okay, let's get this straight. Let's get the facts straight. So we're talking about degenerate spirits, and you could read it all in Germain Dieterlen and Marcel Griot's book, The Pale Fox, because the Dogon mythology speaks about it. It's the same mythology with the Gnostic mythology when Yaldabaoth was born from his mother Sophia. He was born an incomplete being. He was born an incomplete being. He jumped out of his mother, born an incomplete being. He called himself God, a jealous God. No. He says he is God. He alone is God, and there is no other God before him. He is a jealous God. Where did I hear that fucking mythology before? Bam. So, and you look at the Dogon mythology, which talks about the same thing. The spirit, uh, the pale fox. Before that spirit could be fully fermented, like how a child goes through the whole 9 month process, and then it's like it's born fully ready. This spirit jumped out of his mother, incomplete. And so once again, you could read the book. It's in the Dogon mythology, but you look at white people, so called, the way they tortured and simply brought our people to absolutely low levels of consciousness and trauma and all that shit. You really stop and think about it. Like Bobby Hammett said, bro, these spirits have been around long before the cracker or the so called white man was even a concept, let alone an existing being. So you really stop and think about it. It has nothing to do with white people because, like, what shout out to brother Rod Hayes, the Rockefellers, the what do you call that other family, the Rothschilds, all these pieces of shit. These motherfuckers, they don't run things. They're just the puppets they put in front to fucking run the foreground of the operation. But the actual puppet masters, who look like us, who look like us, they fucking live in Switzerland. Think about it. What kind of a system is this in which a country could remain war free in the midst of a bunch of other countries that are always involved in wars? I mean, that's just breaking it down in layman's terms, Dr. Bass. But as I pass it back on to you so we could get into the final video, bro, it's a lot of shit that everybody should be aware of. White people, so called, black people, so called, Arabs, Indians, Chinese, Japanese, Mongolians, Eskimos, the whole 9 yards. Guess what, white people? They don't care about y'all. As a matter of fact, you're the ones they be sending to wars and whatnot. They don't be sending their own children to wars because, yeah, they want to continue to rule. I mean, their system is collapsing and crumbling, but that's all neither the here nor there. But I mean to say, they don't care if y'all are collateral damage in the long run. Because, hey, Hitler was a so called white man. He killed millions of people. Napoleon was a so called white man. He killed millions of people that looked like him. I mean to say, like, yeah, all of that doesn't mean a damn thing. So, yeah, are y'all ready to I don't know, are y'all ready to completely be compliant with their new world order agenda, or are you looking to see their fucking system fall and watch Neo defeat the system just like in the Matrix movies? Because you have to be Neo. You have to be the one to stand up to Mr. Smith and the robots and the entire system. Ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Your liberty is literally in the palm of your own hands. You decide what you want reality to be for yourself. But anyway, Dr. Bass, I pass it back on to you, bro.
Oh yeah, that's a good one right there. Like because at this point we all know it's like it's a personal choice. Like because it's a split between realities. So either you can experience the reality you desire to experience, or you're gonna be experiencing a reality that they forced upon you because you just accepted their narrative. So at this point, it's really a personal choice and it's a personal decision that you have to make internally within yourself because no one else is going to make it. And if you don't make it in time, then you're just going to obviously follow the system because that's what you've already known. So at this point, you just have to sit with yourself and make a decision. Either you're going to continue following the system and supporting this system, or you're going to be like, you know what? Even for those who are still like dip and dabble into the system and everything like that, as long as you speak out on the truth and just make sure when this does collapse you are on the other side, then you should be fine. But at this point it's really just a personal decision that you have to make within yourself. And yeah, because like at this point we all know, like, either you're going to the new earth or you're just gonna be left behind or killed off or just, disappear type stuff.
I mean, hey, Dr. Bass, big shout out to you, bro. I could not have worded it better than you already did. It's either you choose to rise with the new earth or you choose to literally be left behind and suffer whatever consequences based off of that decision that you made for the old earth. I mean, let's be real. The old earth is literally the representation of everything that is our lowest form of consciousness and existence. I mean, if you want to talk about low levels of living, Dr. Bass, we're not even talking about living, we're talking about surviving, then look no further than the old earth. You're talking about toxic, absolutely narcissistic, absolutely fucking like putrid, repulsive, repugnant ways of thinking. But Dr. Mumbi herself already probably put it best. We live in a death culture. The fucking God of this world, as according to that bullshit King James Bible, gave up his own son. Literally sacrificed his own son when he literally could have just snapped his fingers and literally reset everything. I mean, he's supposed to be all powerful and all that stuff, right? I mean, why go through all of that? You had to sacrifice your own son? You absolute lousy, no good piece of shit. But I mean to say, that's just the absurdity of the system in and of itself, Dr. Bass. We, like you and I, as well as many of the people who are watching this live or who will get to watch this live, they already know that. But it's definitely more geared toward the people who should come to know all this stuff. Because there are so many books, there are so many people with knowledge and information doing a far better job than you and I could ever do that could definitely break it down for even the most how can I say, the most spiritually inept individual to really grasp what it is that's really going on. But hey, it's either you rise with the new earth or you fall with the old earth. And Brother Panic, big shout out to that brother. He's moved on to higher planes of existence. He's about to break down just what it is that an individual has to do on a basic level in order to ensure that they leave this realm. Yes, the topic that people don't like to talk about, but we have to talk about it because nothing in this realm can escape it: death. So, yeah, any last words before we get into it, Brandon?
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is like this whole oath is just like this whole society is based on survival and poverty and suffering and everything like that. But internally, you have to switch your mindset and change that frequency and those thought patterns to experience that pure bliss and joy, because whatever you are feeling internally will happen externally. And then the last thing I'll say is that Jesus character definitely won't be coming back down here to save people's sins again. All that type of stuff he had to go through, he definitely ain't doing that again. I'll be honest.
Let me explain to the people, bro. Let me explain to the people what I had already explained to you. So essentially, everyone, I was, I probably had a moment of, yeah, spiritual realization. Wait a minute. Jesus said he's the way, the truth, and the life. He already did the work. He already did the fucking work of so-called dying for mankind's sins. And what is the sin? Being separated from your true self. There you go. That's the sin. That's the sin right there. Being separated from who it is that you really are on a cosmic, universal level, on a spiritual level. Once you separate, you're going to experience lack and all that stupid shit. When the universe itself is nothing more than abundance and completion, as we already said. So Jesus already did the work. Bam. Okay, cool. Fine. Thank you very much, Jesus. But then if you really stop and think about it, even he had to die in order to elevate to that higher level. You know what I mean, Dr. Bass? Even Jesus had to die to elevate to that higher level. He was already casting out demons. He was already feeding multitudes of people. He was already healing people from sicknesses and whatnot. But he had to die for mankind's sins and blah, blah, blah. We already know it comes from Heru in ancient Egypt. Cool. But I mean, why would an individual who's already fully accomplished and fulfilled that level of spiritual stuff, he's already achieved that level of spiritual ascension, why the fuck would he want to come back for a bunch of stupid motherfuckers who are still gossiping, who are still petty, who are still toxic, and all of that stuff? Brandon, it is so hilarious. None of it makes any sense. That's right, Christians. Jesus is never coming back for y'all. Because even if he did have to come back, guess what? The Hindu monk, no, the Buddhist monk, the Hindu yogi, the voodoo priest who knows about the secrets of the universe with knowledge and wisdom and whatnot, the African shaman, even the Native American shamans. Like, big shout out to my Native American brethren, them. Guess what? Jesus is more likely to come back. If he had to come back, he would come back for those individuals and not you silly ass, pitiful, toxic ass religious people who still don't want to see your brethren succeed in even the mundane things in life. So yeah, I really don't have anything more to add, Dr. Bass. Jesus, if you're talking about all of the savior gods from civilizations that even predate Christianity and the whole Jesus mythology and whatnot, guess what? None of them would come back for a majority of humans as they currently exist, because they're too toxic and too stuck on a low level to even bother. Forget it. And if he did have to come back, just like what we joked about already, I just have to come to let you know that y'all motherfuckers are toxic and like y'all are totally not ready. I left all the messages, all the knowledge, all the wisdom for you to literally raise yourself to higher levels. But nah, y'all still want to be about that petty shit. So I just had to come back to let you know that I ain't coming back for you dumb motherfuckers to my kingdom, because it's already peaceful and it doesn't need toxic motherfuckers like you. So bye. Oh my goodness, Dr. Bass, it's just that simple. Jesus, Heru, Asar, Dionysus, Attis, Tammuz, Mithra, Krishna, and a whole list of other savior entities that I can't even list from the top of my head right now because it's so much. They ain't coming back for these motherfuckers because they're too toxic and have not done the work to raise themselves. But hey, Brandon, as I pass it back on to you, any last words as we get into the video?
Yeah, we gonna need a Grammy after this one, okay?
Nah, they could hold their fucking Grammy. They could hold their Grammy, Dr. Bass. Me, all I want is to get the fuck up out of this realm. I don't want to be in this realm no more. Plain and simple. I don't want to be in this realm no more. But hey, if they want to give me, I don't know, I guess a nice house up in a hill somewhere where I'm far away from society and I'm next to a river and nature and all that good stuff. Hey, I don't mind that. Because a Grammy, that don't mean shit, Dr. Baz. They could take that Grammy and nowhere to shove it. For real. Let's get into the video. Yeah, for real, bro. For real. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. They take that Grammy and they know.
Very powerful heart presence. Those are people who come from lifetimes who've done this work already. One of them presence that fills the room. My son can do that. That's why he's one of the only ones I let work selling the herb packs and so forth, because of his heart frequency. It dictates who he is. So this is what you're working on. So this science was the religion of you. Science is your religion. And all science that you could follow is today. If you're not studying the science of death and your role in the quantum reality, all other science is fucking pseudoscience. Y'all niggas like saying that? If you don't know this, all you have is pseudoscience. There's nothing wrong with it because you need it to fucking survive as a human. But true science, the true religion of science that the Camite studied was the science of death. Because as you'll see, she says it in here, and she says it in Great Balls of Fire, where she deals with it more. She talks about the junk DNA being 98% of your DNA. That's so-called out of order and inactive. And 2% is actually what we're working on down here. When you die, that so-called junk DNA becomes active. And it is, listen closely, a library, as she points out in her lectures. In this lecture, the 1-hour lecture and the one and only lecture she has up on YouTube, she points out was 98% of our DNA is a library of viruses and bacteria. This has been the most asked question I have ever encountered. What to do when you die. The scientific concepts are embedded in a religious narrative. And she's saying the concepts are embedded in there. We didn't have the key to decode the death code to all them pictures and stories that we knew. Because another layer to the mythology was death instructions. We needed the code. The dead pharaoh or king becomes a god. He does not die again or go upside down. And he is not seized by the earth gods. What are the earth gods? It's not a person, it's a will. It's all human driven, and it all feeds an energy that wants to survive. It's the ego. It's bacteria manifest. You've just been infected. The human thought in the human being is a virus or a bacteria that's infected your true light. Okay, he does not die again or go upside down, and he is not seized by the earth gods. Not only is the dead king a celestial being, but he's also a magician, a falcon, a flowing fluid, a snake with many coils, and the eye of Horus that pours out of a star. Listen to these codes, which will be decoded. Add to this is the claim that he is self-creating, unique, and firstborn. This is the true virgin birth. You are Self-created. There's no, Oshun is not going to save you. No. No. That's an energy that you use down here to get by. When you get up there, it's just you, nigga. Oshun ain't coming. Horus ain't coming. Jesus ain't coming. Satan ain't coming. Baphomet is not coming. This is nothing more than a fucking equation. Anyone trying to shit on it, go ahead. This is not a religion for me. It's a power symbol. I don't care if you believe in it. It's not a belief system. It's a no or not no. We have a being that is beyond human, a overman, a ultra human, that there's a greater part of you that's locked down some sort of way. In any way you can use Baphomet to release some of that power is cool and the best bet you got down here, but it's minuscule from the human perspective. This is conscious shit, not woke. This is the thing. You must become the overhuman.
Man, Brandon, I don't care what anyone got to say, bro. That is probably one of the best freaking videos that I've had you share in any of our lives so far. And the fact that Panic went so deep as to mention beings who represent the two sides of the polarity spectrum, as in good and evil, light and dark. The fact that he mentioned Satan, Baphomet, Jesus, Oshun, Heru, these are only energies that we're able to use down here to help us to achieve unlocking our true power, our true being. But in the end, that's all they are, way openers. That's all they are. They can help us to open the way to achieving our true power and being. But they can't, how can I say, they can't go with us where it is that we've come from, because we come from realities, like Dr. Mumbi always said, is so sophisticated, so high. Think about it. When you're talking about the gods of Egypt, the hieroglyphs, and you're talking about all these symbols all throughout the ancient world and whatnot, these are nothing more than equations we should literally decode, break, and literally use to help us to achieve that overman in order to fucking get out of this realm. That's all it is, Brandon. It's a mathematical equation that once we come to the answer, we don't need anything else. Everything else is literally just nonsense, garble, gibberish that stands in the way of what it is we should truly be achieving. Getting back to who it is we truly are. Brandon, I thank you so much for today, bro. It was just like so freaking awesome. Please lay it down for everybody out there as we wrap this one up, and yeah, let them know what it is that Panic just laid out for us, bro.
Oh yeah, so like it's really a decision for ourselves because we have free will, of course. These energies can show us the way, they can show us the door, right? But we have to be the ones to actually go through the door, you know what I'm saying? Like for
Bro,
example,
just like Morpheus, just not to cut you off, bro. Just like Morpheus, big shout out to Morpheus, what he said to Neo in the Matrix. Remember, I'm offering you nothing but the truth. And I could show you the door, but only you can walk through it.
definitely it's like
The Matrix movies, bro, I'm telling you, those movies will never fucking lose their popularity because those movies are too deep, too deep. And like what Thai Spiritual said, it's even a miracle that those movies even came out, that they even allowed those movies to fucking come out. It's amazing. That trilogy, yo, it's forever going to be at the top of people's list of movies that are conscious and deep.
yeah, definitely that's definitely gonna go down it will continue going down in history and everything like that. But like
Mhm.
they will place different opportunities or different fated events in your life, but you just have to be the one to actually go through with it and just have to really listen to your intuition because it will never steer you wrong, especially if you have a heightened intuition. But like yeah, that's all I got.
Man, Brandon, I thank you so much. Yeah, it doesn't make no sense for me to put on the video, by the way, because yeah, it's already dark and whatnot, and so like, yeah, whatever. But I mean, either way, Brandon, thank you so much, bro. And yeah, let the people know what you've got going on in the background right now, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah, continue like y'all know y'all listen to the music, you know what I'm saying? Smooth the beat order, you know what we going on. And yeah, I don't know, yeah. Make sure you follow the podcast and whatever you wanna do, you know, feel me?
And remember, bro, you've got a lot of other lives that you have yet to upload that we already did, but all in good timing.
Oh yeah, yeah, I got a whole schedule out. I got it.
Yeah, but either way, yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Bass, and yeah, bro. What can I say? Thank you once again for the opportunity. This one once again turned out to be even better than I would have thought it would have been because again, we had no script, no planning. We just let it all flow.
Oh yeah, we definitely getting better, like as we continue, and then I feel like it's about to go up soon and everything like that. So we
Oh
definitely,
yeah, like how many lives do you even have right now from you and I that you have yet to upload, bro? That's definitely more than five though. At least based off what I remember.
yeah, all together I got a good like I think 9 or 8 or 7 or
Nine or eight? Oh wow, it's actually below 10. Wow. Not bad. Either way, yeah, Brandon, thank you so much once again, bro. Everyone, stay uplifted, raise your consciousness, start reading them books, get into them books, and start listening to those lectures from brethren who definitely know way more than even me and Brandon. Straight up. Straight up. This ain't no competition. It's a marathon, not a race. It's how far and how long you can run, and by all means, get back to who it is that you truly are.
oh yeah, straight up facts right here.
Thanks again once more, Dr. Bass. Peace, peace, everyone.
Peace out, man.